Tonight, we're talking about transparency. Not the kind the Kardashian sisters prefer in a wardrobe, but the kind of transparency 10 Investigates has been pushing for as we try to figure out just what the hell some Hillsborough County commissioners are doing behind closed doors. See, we've shown in the past how commissioners may have secretly helped friends get preferred government contracts, how they've deleted public records, and even accepted bribes in exchange for favors. But this time, it's actually not what they're doing behind closed doors that got our attention. It's what they're doing in plain view up there on the dais in the middle of commission meetings. See, while contentious debates are taking place over issues like taxpayer spending, failing infrastructure, or Confederate monuments, we found many of the commissioners and top county staffers typing away on their phones.
Commissioner, you're on your phone a lot during public meetings. What are you doing on your phone if it's not sending texts or emails?
Due to your irresponsible and misleading reporting, I've chosen not to speak with you.
We'll come back to Commissioner Ken Hagan in a minute. Look, I admit I too have made an impulse Amazon purchase of an ugly Christmas sweater in the middle of a work meeting once or 6 times. But given the importance of what we elect and pay our politicians to do, we'd hope the majority of what they're doing during government meetings is related to government business. Except when we made a public records request for all texts related to government business during those meetings, which they must turn over by law, we were told by many commissioners none existed, which means they were either using their phones for non-government business or they deleted the messages they sent, which wouldn't be a huge surprise since we exposed some doing that exact same thing 2 years ago in the midst of a multi-billion-dollar discussion about transit. In fact, our stories prompted the board to issue each member a county-owned cell phone so their messages could be auto-archived. Hagan was even the commissioner who made the motion in the name of transparency. But we noticed he wasn't using it. And when we caught up with him earlier this year, he said,
I'm using it sparingly, probably not as much as I should.
So, how's that going another 6 months later when we caught him again typing away on his personal cell phone all meeting long?
What's going on with that?
Due to your irresponsible and misleading reporting, I've chosen not to speak with you.
Commissioner, you've touted your transparency. Certainly you could afford a few questions.
Due to your irresponsible and misleading reporting, I've chosen not to speak with you.
What do you consider irresponsible and misleading?
Due to your irresponsible and misleading reporting, I've chosen not to speak with you.
I honestly don't know which report Hagan was referring to, but my best guess would either be our story exposing how he coordinated with a close political ally, Beth Latham, before she landed a $1 million county contract, or how he showed he's flip-flopped on the topic of tax money for a new race stadium, or how he isn't disclosing how he's using free tickets he gets to local games, or how he sometimes only discovers public records after he's been busted for not turning them over, or questioning why he's helped direct film incentives to a campaign supporter, or maybe our debunking of his bogus economic claims about the impact of college football's championship here. It's clear Hagan has given thought as to what he would eventually say when we caught up with him. But what he didn't give thought to was how far he'd have to walk through public spaces to get back to the safety of his own office.
Due to your irresponsible and misleading reporting, due to your irresponsible and misleading reporting, due to your irresponsible and misleading reporting, I've chosen not to speak with you.
Yes, 16 times in our quarter-mile walk back to his office, which would be comical if the lack of transparency wasn't such a concern for taxpayers, because Hagan isn't the only offender on the board. A records request for all commissioners' texts on their county-issued phones for the entire month of August turned up exactly 0 messages. They all text, just really not on their county phones, which means we have to rely on their word that they're keeping and turning over public records from their personal phones, which we know from our 2015 reporting doesn't happen with some of them. Now, 6 out of 7 commissioners got back to us on our questions for this. The only one who wouldn't was Hagan. To be fair, the commissioner did actually mix up his response to me by the end of our unscheduled interview.
You are an irresponsible reporter and a joke in the journalistic community.
I've been called worse.
And that was by my mother. Look, commissioners may be doing nothing more than sending some mundane texts during meetings, and public records may be the least of Hillsborough County's worries these days. But if we can't trust elected officials to follow their own rules and the state law, how can we trust them with multi-million-dollar decisions? One thing's for sure, it's not transparent. Actually, a second thing's for sure, too, that an irresponsible reporter who's a disgrace to the journalistic profession will continue to ask questions. Somebody's got to do it, and it probably won't be Hagan's fellow commissioners. They're too busy on their phones to notice.